I'm following Ian Hunter, who's the lead ringer here at Sandwich Bay Bird Observatory. They have a series of nets up, which they run during the autumn and also during the spring to try and assess the migration, because obviously we're right by the coast and birds are migrating at the moment from Europe through to us. I better run and catch them up. We're going to be basically trying to look at all the nets to see if there's any bird caught in the nets, and they need to be checked regularly, every half an hour, because you don't want birds to be hanging around in the nets for too long, because that would be distressing. So you've got 12 of these really huge nets here, and can you tell us about the material, because it's really fine?
It is very fine, but it also has to be strong because it's got to hold the bird safely. It's actually a braided material rather than a single filament. It's twined together. It doesn't cause damage to the feathers.
Okay, so the bird flies and basically it falls into
a pocket. And these nets are 18 metres long. So what we've got here is a blue tit. Now, people don't often think about those as migrants, but certainly here some of them are. So just very carefully try and work it out, because we don't want any damage to come to the bird at all.
This blue tit looks very tricky to extract from the nest. I'm sure that you need a certain skill. Not anyone can do this, obviously.
No, and certainly with things like blue tits, it's one of the species that is very common to catch, but you actually have to do a certain number to get your permit for ringing on your own.
I'd be right in saying, for the experience for the bird, it's like us going to the dentist and you might be a bit distressed for 5 minutes, what have you, but then forget about it straight afterwards.
Yes, as I say, some people are in gardens, the birds come back every day. They make this balance between food and being caught, and they decide the food's more worth it.
The whole ringing scheme in the UK is administered by the British Trust for Ornithology, so it's totally regulated. It's been giving us a lot of information in terms of science.
Right, no fat.
The average person watching this would wonder what's so important about the work you're doing.
It's important in that we can find things out, such as the fact that the robin in your garden might not be the same one all the time, basic things like that. Also, are things changing? Are more birds hanging around because it's warmer in the UK? Like goldfinch, for instance, they feed on feeders and they're hanging around a lot longer, whereas they never used to, but they've really learned to. So you get changes that you can see, but you can get evidence from this of what sort of birds are doing it as well. Well, there are various bits of information you can pick up. Some of the biometrics will help you differentiate sex. Some will help you differentiate race. For instance, blackbirds from Scandinavia are bigger than our resident blackbirds, as an example. And also, when I look at the fat, it gives you an idea of the condition.
What sort of information is carried on the ring?
So these rings are all issued by the British Trust for Ornithology, and they're individually numbered. So that's one good reason for having them controlling the ringing in the UK. There's no duplication of numbers.
Yeah.
It's also got an address in case someone else finds it. And this one is British Museum, London. I think it's SW7, isn't it? Yeah. The rings are specially designed so that they're loose fit, they won't slip over the joint, but they can move around, and they're very light. It's no worse than wearing a ring on your finger.
Ian, you must have many thousands of records a year in terms of catching birds and all the information.
Yeah.
Where does that get fed into?
Well, basically, obviously, we're still old school and record it hard copy, but this gets entered on a computer and it gets sent to the British Trust for Ornithology. They are the central database for all UK ringing, and available for scientists to analyse and look at trends.
For me, I'm just so excited to be here, just to be able to see birds being caught and processed. And even though they look small and delicate, they are such beautifully engineered creatures because they have to travel so far. You're seeing science being created right in front of you. You're seeing this research being done, and the whole thing's added together, the bigger picture. Not only does that show us the health of the birds we have in this country, but it also informs us as to what we need to do in order to try and conserve them.